If you're a kid, please make note of this. It's for your own good. When the first trailer for Marvel's Avengers came up at Square Enix's E3 2019 conference, I went absolutely nuts. I really got intrigued with the story they were presenting, and I was in awe at how the game looked. Almost like an MCU movie I could actually play as a game. Sure, there wasn't much gameplay at the moment, but based on what I was shown, I wanted more. And throughout the coming months, through demos or online presentations, I got even more excited. Like, holy cow, did Thor just open the Bifrost to ravage a shielded enemy? Holy cow, there will be missions catered to the lone player in an online community? Holy cow, MODOK? Just waiting for this game got me tense and excited, and they even announced a beta for the game that went up a month before release date to those who pre-ordered it, like me, before going free and open to the public 2 weeks later. Right now, the time of the beta has passed, so I might as well say what I thought of it here. Personally, I absolutely loved it, and it is absolutely living up to my expectations. I mean, I do agree that there are some things that need to be ironed out, but honestly, I had so much fun with this game for any of its downsides to intrude on my experience. I'd like to give credit to the devs for presenting a lot of story ideas, without giving too much away. I mean, you've got the 8-day prologue and Kamala working to reassemble the Avengers and take AIM down, but anything else that might be going on is kept in secret, and what they presented honestly gets me excited for what they'll do from here. I'm really interested to see how they'll develop these heroes in a different way from what previous incarnations did, and how they'll work into it with the new things they're presenting. Voice acting's great too, though to be honest, hearing Nolan North do the voice of Iron Man always makes me think of Deadpool in his armor instead. That's not necessarily a bad thing, as North does a great job like he always does, but it's something I just can't get out of my head. While on this aspect of the presentation, the game as a whole looks excellent for a late PS4 game. I love how the environments look, and the amount of detail put into each of the heroes, the enemies, and all their attack animations are to die for. Though there are occasions where that can be hard to appreciate because of the performance. Most of the time, the game runs perfectly well and does a great job immersing me into the action, but there are a few moments where they overcompensate, and yikes, the frame rate suffers for it. I admit I'm playing this off a vanilla PS4, as I don't have an Xbox One, a PS4 Pro, or an Xbox One X, so I am not sure how much better it runs on them or on PC. I admit that I prefer playing bigger budget titles on consoles than PC, and the frame rate doesn't distract me constantly, but the times where it does make me believe that a tad more work should go into it. Maybe it'll be addressed slightly when it comes out for the upcoming PS5 and Xbox Series X, but still. I mean, there are a couple weird things about the presentation, like for instance, I noticed a few parts where there was texture pop-in, but even so, they do so little to interfere with my enjoyment of the gameplay. It feels really tight, and I love how well the game manages to replicate the feeling like you're controlling your favorite heroes, while keeping totally and contextually consistent with the rest of the game, on top of not feeling too repetitive. Every character is built with a few similar ideas for consistency's sake, like all having light and heavy attacks, some form of projectile that can be used with the L2 and R2 buttons, finishers that can be pulled off with the button combo, specials that are activated using the L1 and R1 buttons, among a few other things, but what each character decides to do with it makes them stand out. As someone who doesn't know a ton about Kamala Khan, playing as her actually left an impression on me. She's got some smooth combos on both the light and heavy attack buttons, she deals a solid amount of damage to even chunkier targets, she can go Elastigirl and stretch her arms to hit airborne enemies or to reach higher ledges, and she has a special that can heal her team. A simple character, but she really gets the job done in the heat of the moment, and I enjoy having her around. Black Widow may not have any superpowers, but darn, she makes an impression on me too. She's got guns which are good for staggering air enemies, some of the best combo potential in the game, a grappling hook that can get her around easily, and specials that can throw enemies for a loop, which includes a move that I'm pretty sure was inspired by Darth Maul. Hulk may be a big target, but he's about as satisfying to play as you'd expect. He can stun enemies easily, can power himself up while simultaneously providing a little bit of healing, he has some of the best jumping potential that can be benefited by the Jungle Gym-like level design, and he has some of the best specials that can smash everything before they know what hit them. The devs really went nuts with the Hulk being known for smashing, and it really shows. He's awesome, and I love taking control of him when I feel like it. But not as much my personal favorite playable character so far, Iron Man. Being the champ he is, he's got access to repulsors, lasers, and even rockets for main combat, but using them takes a toll on his suit's power, so you can't go nuts with him and instead need to alternate between them and standard combat for enemy encounters. But don't worry, he can hover, meaning no enemy is safe from him. His specials are also great, and when I saw him activate the Hulkbuster armor for his best special, I really needed a change of pants. This is amazing fan service if I have ever seen it. Also, I'm so happy that you can fly freely as him. Upon reveal of his gameplay, I was a little concerned that his flight would be locked to certain on-rail segments, but thankfully that's not the case. It's not ideal to abuse it for enemy encounters, sure, but man is it useful and fun. I would say more about Thor and Captain America, as the amount of nuance they are given just makes them feel just as good to play as. The problem? You only get to play as them during the A-Day prologue, only accessible when you boot up the game. That's it. You can't select them on the character menu afterwards, and you can't go back and replay that mission, which is lame, but I had fun with everything else so I won't lose sleep over it. Since these characters are working as a team, you can also have them team up for certain attacks and finishers depending on how well you perform, which both makes every encounter feel fresh, and holy cow, this fanservice is just too much! Heck, there's even a gear system that can give you some extra power, and a skill tree system that can give everyone even more moves to play with, so everyone gets a sense of progression, and the missions become more interesting in terms of when you decide to play them. For most of the missions you have available, you can pick between any one of the playable characters while the others serve as AI companions, which honestly works out pretty well. The game does do a good job of spacing out challenges that you can take yourself, but your AI companions are far from useless, as they can deal a good amount of damage to other enemies for you, can activate specials by themselves, and in general just have your back when you're in a tight spot, which I'm very happy with. Despite this, if you are able to get anyone else playing the game in on the action, I recommend you do so, as through this game's matchmaking system, the game can let you team up with other players and take on challenges together, a perk that I welcome. And based on the beta, I was able to access the system without a subscription to PS Plus, so if an online subscription truly is not needed to access the system, I really hope they keep it this way for the final release. But even if they don't, I'm still just happy to play the game on my own, because the game does not alienate those who want to play solo. Almost every mission adjusts its difficulty based on your current loadout, and the ones that don't and resort to a single level are warned to you ahead of time. Not to mention not very plentiful. And if that's not enough, there's even a difficulty selection. I played the missions on normal difficulty, and while as a whole they weren't too easy, they were also not too hard either, so it's good that you have the option to dial it down for a smooth ride, or crank it up if you want to fight. I'm also a big fan of the option to purchase costumes, emotes, and nameplates from a menu in case you want to show off to the public, or if you just want to look cool or silly while playing story-related missions, though I do not, under any circumstances, want them to monetize this store with microtransactions, because it's fine as it is, not to mention they have a fine business model of adding in new content later for completely free, akin to something like Splatoon or CTR Nitrofield. And I know that if they avoid some things I don't want them to do, and possibly polish a few more things, this game will definitely live up to the hype I got upon reveal, or even surpass it. This beta tells me that they are on the right track with this, and will give me exactly what I want to see. I cannot wait for the full game to come out soon, and I'd recommend giving the full game a shot whenever you have the chance to do so. I'm the Lightning Ripper, and there's also a photo mode in this game. Thank you for that!